Jarvis. He's the CEO of Bitcoin.com. I want to really know how you got that domain. And aside from that, he also has a great team of professionals, and he's going to be talking to us about EVMs in a non-Ethereum world. But before even jumping into EVMs, who here knows what EVM stands for? Okay, a handful of people, but not enough. So, an EVM is an Ethereum virtual machine, which, contrary to what you would think, is not actually a machine. Instead, it is a piece of software that sits on top of Ethereum hardware and on top of their nodes and is able to execute smart contracts for us, which is fundamental to being able to deploy all these dApps, these NFT marketplaces, and all of these new emerging use cases. But I don't know about you, I feel like every other week I hear about some type of Ethereum killer, right? There's always some new coin token coming out that claims to be an Ethereum killer. So what we're going to be discussing is, what if Ethereum actually does die? What's going to happen to these EVMs? So, Dennis and Michael, I will let you take it away on that note. Thank you.
Thanks, Christina.
Thank you.
Well, I know the answer to this, but let's start, for those who don't know, is how did you get the URL bitcoin.com?
I didn't get the URL. Roger got the URL a long time ago, a few years before I joined. And the aspects of that deal still remain clouded in secrecy.
So by Roger, he's referring to Roger Ver, aka Bitcoin Jesus, who was one of the original BitAngels. He was actually at the founding of BitAngels meeting that we had at the Bitcoin Foundation conference in San Jose in May of 2013. And David Johnston and I decided to start the group. And we put out a note on Reddit that we're going to go and have an organizing meeting at a table in the lunchroom, and we're hoping 6 or 7 people would show up. 30 showed up, and I ended up like going and asking people how long they've been in crypto, and Roger just kind of went 2010, and I didn't know who he was yet. I certainly knew who he was by the end of the meeting, and so that was a great kind of iconic start to BitAngels. We also had Vinny Lingham there. We had Jared Kenna, who'll be a speaker in Puerto Rico, who started the first American Bitcoin exchange. We had Chad Cascarillo, who's now the head of Paxos. He was an investor in Liberty City Fund back then. And so those were the early days when Bitcoin was $120 and the world was young. And you can look up Roger Ver, V-E-R. In 2011, I think it was, he made his little YouTube video where he basically offered anybody, $1 million for the bet that Bitcoin would go and beat I think it was gold, silver, New York Stock Exchange, and like one other asset by 100x in the next, I think it was 3 or 4 years. And it beat 3 of the 4 by 100x. Pretty phenomenal. And so now we're going to go to what Bitcoin.com is doing today. Obviously, you've built a number of other products. You came through the product development ranks at Bitcoin.com, and now you've been the CEO for a couple of years, based out of Japan and a plane. And tell us about the evolution of Verse and sort of like your philosophy and Bitcoin.com's on the EVM and sort of like functionality as the world's going to kind of develop going forward with smart contracts.
Yeah, thank you. So if you don't know, Bitcoin.com today is the premier online destination for millions of people to buy, sell, spend, trade, stay informed about all of crypto. It started as Bitcoin advocacy and marketing organization. Today, it's the entire world of crypto, Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, Avalanche, Polygon, and we're rolling out more and more chains, many of which are EVM compatible, which we'll talk about why we're doing that in a moment. But it's really for the mass market, for the millions upon millions of people who are asking the question, should I buy Bitcoin now? Or they're aware of what Bitcoin is, they've heard of Bitcoin, and they want to learn more about it. And that's where we start the journey or the odyssey for those people into the world of crypto. We start by selling them their first Bitcoin, teaching them about the fundamentals, the principles behind Bitcoin, like why it's important to the world, and then educating them about all of the opportunity that exists beyond Bitcoin. in the world of DeFi, for example, or NFTs, or we'll see what comes with the metaverse. So today, that's what Bitcoin.com is. It's this multi-chain, all crypto destination for people everywhere around the world to come and learn about crypto. And I think that getting into the EVM component of it, this is super important for us in terms of how we make the more complicated or more difficult to use aspects of crypto more accessible to the people who are still asking those questions like, should I buy Bitcoin? And as Christina mentioned, EVM is the Ethereum virtual machine, or it's this runtime component that allows you to run smart contracts. This incredible innovation that powers pretty much everything in the world of crypto outside of Bitcoin. And if it's EVM compatible, meaning it runs smart contracts originally designed to run on Ethereum, these contracts can run on any chain. And then if you're making your wallet or your exchange interoperable with EVM compatible chains, it means once you've done it essentially for Ethereum, it's very, very easy to make your product compatible with any other chain that offers some sort of compatibility with EVM. Avalanche, Polygon, other chains like Cardano have a side chain that's EVM compatible. So I think it's this really unique and helpful tool or technology set. I don't want to say protocol, but technology set around smart contracts that makes it very, very easy to deploy a lot of different functionality across a lot of different L1s.
So the history of EVMs versus just Ethereum, really to me started heating up in the last 2 years when everybody was complaining about, just like an analogy would be the dawn of Bitcoin Cash, which of course was Roger's pet passion about keeping Bitcoin to its original standards of being able to be low fee accessible to anybody in the world. And we had this long period of time before the SegWit came in, where it was like getting up to like $10 or $20 of fees to send $5 of Bitcoin. I mean, obviously now it's down there, although Bitcoin Cash is still less. But there are obviously a lot of Bitcoin forks that have been out there. And I think an analogy would be that still do a lot of the same thing that Bitcoin was designed to do. An analogy would be in the beginning there was one Ethereum, and then all of a sudden, because similarly, there were high fees on Ethereum, and the crypto kitties slowed it down, and then other things slowed it down. And the whole idea of Ethereum was supposed to be that it's able to go and process things in a way that would not be possible without bloating the Bitcoin network. And it just took forever to build sidechains and things like that. So all of a sudden, what Ethereum was supposed to solve, they became a victim of their own success. And, it's been 4 years or so since they started talking about the merge, and it finally came through, and the fees are still about the same, maybe a little bit lower. It's now at least, more environmental by the people that kind of monitor what energy usage would go in. I still think there's a lot of false narratives in that, but really where it got people's attention was when you had this dramatic growth in the value of, really, I guess BNB was the first one that then did Binance Smart Chain, and they put $100 million into taking what was a loyalty token and then being able to have it be a layer 1 EVM compatible. And then what Polygon did as a layer 2, to the point where I'm not sure where they are today, but at one point they actually exceeded Ethereum in volume. So are these the same issues that we're having for the growth of EVM fees and scalability? And how do you see it playing out in a world where Ethereum isn't even in the top 2 or 3 Ethereum players anymore?
Yeah, well, I think there's a lot of trade-offs there, right? There is, as we saw from Dr. Gertzel's presentation yesterday, the blockchain trilemma of decentralization, scalability, and security. And many smart contract chains, Ethereum included, are pursuing, overcoming this, what EVM compatibility does, I think, is gives all of these layer ones that are EVM compatible the opportunity to go and try to find the solution to this trilemma, to become all three of these things while still maintaining interoperability with everything else that's being developed out there in the ecosystem today. And I think that's super important. The trade-off is that if there is any protocol risk associated with EVM, then it exposes everybody who is EVM compatible to that risk. However, it's so far been like a very useful and valid and secure computational environment for executing smart contracts. And as long as that remains true, that risk seems to be mitigated, allowing people some degree of interoperability while also being able to explore all the different technological innovations that they can bring to bear on this problem of scalability and decentralization and security.
So you made an interesting point about while still, the trilemma, while still, keeping up to date with innovations, because the first alternative EVM wasn't Binance Smart Chain, it was Ethereum Classic after the fork. But they haven't really kept up with the innovations. I mean, if you're looking at Ethereum Classic, I mean, it's still kind of like 2016 code. And so do you see layer ones or layer twos as the best way of kind of keeping up with anything that the Ethereum community is developing, soul-based tokens or whatever, as being then, working, kind of plug and play on an EVM that's not Ethereum?
Yeah, so I don't like to predict like whether I think layer ones or a layer one or any layer two or layer twos in general is going to be the ultimate winner in this space. And I think that because I'm 99% sure whatever I picked would not be the winner. That's the way how it goes. But I think for us, what our approach is to make sure that we're offering the most choice to our users, and again, users who are concerned with how they can benefit from having an asset, how they can financially prosper from having an asset in their portfolio, are not as concerned with the ins and outs or particulars of one L1 chain versus another, or L1 versus L2. They want to hold Polygon, or they want to hold Bitcoin and learn about Polygon, and then also hold Polygon, and then maybe participate in some DeFi primitives in the Polygon space, maybe do some lending, right? So they can learn interest. Most ordinary people are taking an asset-first approach to how they invest in crypto. And it's really us, the enthusiasts, the innovators, the insiders, who hold the most interest in the technological future of these various chains. So.
And then obviously Bitcoin.com, entire ecosystem discussions and education and ability to participate. Where is Verse fitting into this whole mix?
So as I mentioned, Bitcoin.com is this multi-chain product family now that encourages people to learn about all the various aspects of crypto, whether it's DeFi or NFTs or what will ultimately come in GameFi or Metaverse. And there is a lot that people can do already today in crypto, but I think that there is sometimes a lack of motivation to keep them learning, right? They'll buy an asset and then they'll hold it, they'll go forget about it for a little while. But what you really want to do is encourage your users to continue the journey, the exploration of finding out about what's out there, what is going to be most useful to them in their individual pursuit of financial prosperity or creative prosperity. And we have a token that we are introducing called Verse, which is this rewards token that we will use to reward users for taking quests, along their odyssey in crypto. Whether it starts with buying their first Bitcoin or ends in, participating in a DeFi protocol, like a lending protocol, and lending out their crypto to earn interest on it. There's a lot of things to do along the way. It's a very, educational and time-consuming, task today. So we want to motivate and reward people for taking each successive step along the path from crypto beginner to crypto native. And Verse, thank you for mentioning that, Michael, is this rewards and utility token that we are introducing this year. Public sale starts on November 1st. for rewarding users is taking all of these steps towards the ultimate goal of being fully crypto native.
Great, thank you. Questions for Dennis?
I got a question. So, with a lot of EVMs being deployed on something like AWS, right? And there's even a rumor that AWS has about, like, I don't know, like 25% of nodes that were deployed through AWS. How does that centralization, kind of affect the ecosystem? And do you see any, like, multi areas that can be attacked?
I think, there is like the legal exposure of like, regulatory exposure of having your product run exclusively like on an American, company's infrastructure. So I think that is pretty, that's something to take note of. We run our infrastructure on a variety of different, cloud and physical-based, services for that reason. So I wouldn't run everything on AWS purely from that standpoint. Is I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket where somebody like Gary decides to pressure somebody named Jeff to stop this thing called crypto, and then 80% of it is lights out at the end of the day there. So diversify your infrastructure for sure. Yeah.
Any other questions? You got the CEO of Bitcoin.com here.
Okay, you say private sell, but what about, public sell, what about the private sell for those of us in the ecosystem might want an early opportunity to access that?
Oh, great. Thank you. That's a good question too, Sheldon. So we are closing our private round on Verse right now, in just prior to the start of the public sale, which is coming up on November 1st. And there is still some allocation left to those people who are interested in participating in that round. Please see me today. I'd be more than happy to give you the, all the details and the pitch about that. We closed our first private round back in March at a $336 million valuation with participants including Blockchain.com, Digital Strategies, KuCoin Ventures, to name a few. And that was very successful. We're closing the second private round very soon. And then public sale to start in November. We have, I think, over 40,000 people pre-registered in KYC to start that public sale. So should be good.
Any other questions? Yes.
Yeah.
Do you need videos?
Yeah, I'm always happy to participate in producing video content for anybody's platform. And we do, it's funny you mentioned journalism, a lot of our own in-house editorial content at Bitcoin.com. I didn't mention this earlier, but we have a product called News. It's Bitcoin.com News, which gets 2.5 to 3 million monthly readers every month, a huge 1 million following on Twitter. And we reach a lot of people with interesting stories about cryptocurrency and world economic issues through that platform. And I think at some point it makes sense for us to expand into video. It's all written content right now, but yeah, we'll see.
Yes, all the way in the back.
What are your thoughts on a company that would offer both stocks and a token as investment vehicles?
They will have a wide variety of investors to to pitch to. I think so. I think that as was discussed in the earlier panel, I definitely see that when I am making the rounds this year, a lot of I guess I would say coming strictly from venture capital, questions like, are you also offering equity? But I think then there is a lot of classes of investor in the crypto world that are still open to purely token-based investments, especially foundations, as Michael mentioned earlier, and also crypto hedge funds. But I think that's very natural. I see a lot of companies raising both token and equity basis right now. So,
yeah, and equity gives you possibility of board seats, knowing what's happening if things go south, some ability to sort of get what's left if the company goes into receivership, as opposed to the token. It's either you're going and making a profit, or it's going poof and you have questions. So on the other hand, with tokens, you are able oftentimes to get double or triple your money back on a run up. While equity is usually going to be a 7 to 10 year proposition. So I'm always a fan of when I'm able to get, a 7 to 10 year proposition on something that I think I've bought equity at a good price, and I'm confident of the team and that they're going to go and, have as good a shot. Look, equity is a portfolio investment. You're never going to be 100% sure somebody's going to go from a $15 million valuation to becoming a unicorn, right? But if you invest in like 20 of them, hopefully one's a unicorn and 2 are like, half-a-corns or whatever they call these things. And that'll make up for, the typical 70% just going sideways or going to zero. Tokens are very similar, except tokens, the 7 to 10 years plays out in 7 to 10 weeks sometimes. Question over there. We're going to try and keep it one per person.
Bitcoin.com is very focused on new crypto people and being able to attract new users. How are you guys kind of doing that during this bear market where there's a lot of fear from new people, but still being able to attract that demographic?
Yeah, great question. So one of the main ways that Bitcoin.com makes money is by selling crypto to, especially to people who are just learning about crypto and taking their first steps into the crypto space. And I would say, despite the bear market, maybe wiping out 99% of NFT trade volume, for example, or huge declines in price of some altcoins. We've only seen a small dip in the volume of fiat to crypto on-ramp from new users. It has not nearly been as dramatic as I think some of the more impactful numbers that we've seen in the news lately. So the demand is still out there. People are still interested in learning about crypto and still wanting to buy it, right? So I think that we continue with our mission to educate. So
it's not
them.
as bad as 2019.
No, definitely not. Yeah.
I remember when 2019, early 2019, it was sort of like any publication that had ICO in their name just shut down and said, well, there's no more ICOs, there never will be again. We're shutting down. And we're not seeing that. We're not seeing Bitcoin.com shutting down because nobody's interested in Bitcoin, for sure. Yes, Doug.
I had to check one. Is the Bitcoin.com wallet used separately with Bitcoin?
That is a great question. I know we have the PR for SegWit, for BTC SegWit. I don't remember or recall if it's been deployed yet or not. Yeah, but I could definitely look into that and get back to you. It's funny, I don't spend a lot of my time, working with the Bitcoin engineering at Bitcoin.com lately. A lot of more of the focus has been rolling out new chains to the ecosystem, and Bitcoin remains this very stable store of value with high interest from the public that is largely technologically stable for a long time now. So. But good point.
Okay.
Excellent question from guy in the green shirt back there.
That's
He
Doug.
knows exactly why I'm saying that too.
That's Doug, our first SimDog buyer.
No, I
Yes,
know.
okay.
I know. It's just insight,
Fly air.
Michael.
Okay. Okay. Well, I guess your presence here means the hook is out. So
It is.
with
it
that,
is.
I
You're
will.
getting used to it now, so
I will,
I'm training you well.
Thank Dennis for now having a fireside chat on.
Yes. Thank you so much, Dennis and Michael.
Two continents, and we'll try to add Caribbean at some point to the triple bagger. So.
Thank you, Michael and Christina, and thank you everybody else for your time today.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.